What if the world demanded a voice you couldn't give? In a nation where over 70 million people live with disabilities, one boy's silence in the noisy sprawl of Chicago could have doomed him to invisibility. But stakes were high from the start. Without words, how could he chase dreams, support his struggling single mom, or even order a burger without stairs? Alex Thompson came into the world on the 15th of November 1995 at a bustling hospital in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood. Without uttering a single cry, doctors diagnosed congenital mutism, a rare condition that locked his vocal cords tight forever. In the South Side's chaotic streets, where kids hollered from fire escapes and sirens wailed through the night, Alex's quiet presence felt like a void. His mother, Elena, a determined waitress, pulling double shifts at a diner off Michigan Avenue for $7.25 an hour, barely covered their $800 monthly rent on a cramped two-bedroom apartment. Evenings meant scraping by on ramen and thrift store finds, while Elena signed basic phrases she'd picked up from a free library class. At Washington Elementary, Alex huddled in the back row, scribbling notes as classmates snickered "dummy" under their breath. Teachers, juggling 30 kids, shrugged and moved on. By age 10, he internalized the cruel myth: no voice meant no future, just like his uncle grinding away at a warehouse for minimum wage. Yet, a flicker of hope sparked when Elena snagged a used Dell computer for $50 at a garage sale. Late nights, as she collapsed from exhaustion, Alex explored its glow, stumbling onto free coding tutorials. This machine whispered possibilities in a language he could master. But in a city that never slept, could silence ever shout loud enough to be heard? High school at Dunbar Vocational Career Academy amplified the isolation. The daily trek involved dodging sketchy corners and cramming onto CTA buses reeking of exhaust and body odor, where passengers barked orders he couldn't match. Alex communicated through clumsy signs with Elena, but peers kept their distance, mistaking quiet for aloofness. Grades tanked in classes requiring speeches. He bombed 3 oral presentations in freshman year, each costing 20% of his semester score, dragging his GPA below 2.5. "You gotta speak up to succeed," his counselor barked in a cluttered office stacked with outdated flyers. That reinforced his core lie: mutism equaled mediocrity. To ease the financial strain, Alex grabbed a weekend gig at McDonald's, flipping patties amid the chaos of fryers, beeping and managers yelling. Customers grew frustrated when he pointed at the menu board instead of verbalizing orders. One irate man snapped, "What's wrong with you?" After a mix-up, leaving Alex red-faced and quitting after 8 weeks with just $300 in his pocket. Back home, the computer became his sanctuary. He devoured Codecademy lessons, crafting his first program, a basic text-to-ASCII sign language display. It glitched often, but each debug session chipped away at his doubts. Elena encouraged him over budget dinners of canned soup, but her fatigue showed bills piled up after a rent hike to $950. College loomed impossible. Applications demanded essays and interviews. In 2013, he shotgunned 5 community college apps, netting 3 flat rejections and 1 conditional offer. Hinging on speech therapy, he flunked spectacularly. Only City Colleges of Chicago accepted him on a need-based partial scholarship, saddling him with $5,000 in loans by sophomore year. There, in a fluorescent-lit lab humming with outdated PCs, he immersed in coding courses. Group projects were nightmares. Teammates ignored his typed ideas, leading to 1 failed assignment. To pay tuition, he pedaled 15 miles daily on his rusty bike, delivering pizzas through biting Chicago winters, numb fingers clutching handlebar. Burnout crept in. Nights blurred into code lines and delivery slips. Would this endless grind bury his spark, or force it to ignite? The obstacles mounted like a gathering storm over Lake Michigan. Fresh out of community college in 2015 with an associate's in computer science, Alex hurled himself into the job market, applying to 47 entry-level programming roles, from Google's Chicago outpost to scrappy loop startups and remote postings. 42 rejection emails flooded in, most citing essential communication skills. The 5 interviews, humiliating ordeals. At a sleek office on Wacker Drive, the manager shifted uncomfortably as Alex typed responses on his phone, cutting it short with, "We need verbal collaboration here." He biked home through gridlocked traffic, horns blaring like accusations, arriving defeated and soaked in sweat. Back in the apartment with Elena, now facing $950 rent, he scraped by on Upwork freelancing, debugging scripts for $200 a month, barely enough for groceries. Inspiration flickered during volunteer hours at a deaf community center in Pilsen, where he witnessed families fumbling with apps that bungled sign recognition 60% of the time. AI could fix this, he pondered, sketching prototypes on scrap paper that night. But self-doubt roared. No capital, no network. The second hurdle loomed in mastering AI. Via free Coursera courses, he wrestled neural networks, his initial model crashing 28 times on the old laptop. He shelled out $400 for a refurbished upgrade, but progress crawled. By 2017, after 1,200 hours poured in, he unveiled a demo at a local hackathon in a crowded co-working space. Judges scoffed. Cute, but unscalable for real-world use. Devastated, he shelved the project for weeks, questioning his sanity. The third blow struck hardest. Elena's pneumonia landed her in the hospital, racking up $8,000 in bill. Alex juggled coding marathons with bedside vigils, surviving on 4 hours of sleep nightly. One frantic ER night, signing desperately to uncomprehending nurses as monitors beeped ominously, he hit rock bottom, tears streaming, contemplating surrender. The dream felt foolish amid beeping machines and sterile halls. Could he claw back from this abyss, or would silence swallow him whole? From that nadir, Alex forged a path of relentless discipline, rising at 5 a.m. Daily, he laced up sneakers for a 3-mile jog along Lake Michigan's wind-swept trail, logging 1,095 miles over 3 years to sharpen his focus amid crashing waves. Quick oats fueled him before diving into coding sessions from 6 a.m. to noon in his makeshift home office, the screen's glow piercing the dim apartment. Afternoons meant dissecting AI frameworks like TensorFlow, poring over research papers in a quiet library corner. Early prototypes faltered badly. Version 2 mangled basic signs at 85% error rate, draining his laptop's battery in minutes. He iterated furiously, rewriting code 17 times amid coffee-fueled all-nighters. Setbacks peppered the way. A simulated data breach exposed flaws, eating 2 weeks of fixes. Social life withered. Attempts at dating fizzled when conversations stalled into awkward typing. But routines anchored him. Daily journals chronicled micro-wins, like nailed thank you recognition today. He volunteered more at Pilsen, amassing 500 video clips from deaf users to train his models authentically. The 2020 pandemic locked Chicago down, confining him to the apartment as Elena recovered slowly. Isolation amplified, but he channeled it into 2,500 hours of work that year, adapting to Zoom pitches. A glimmer emerged late 2020. The app hit 70% accuracy on a 1,000-sign test set. Buoyed, he cold-emailed investors, enduring 12 rejections, labeling it too niche. The 13th, a Chicago-linked VC from Silicon Valley, invested $50,000 for equity. In January 2021, he launched SilentSpeak Tech, leasing a modest West Loop office for $1,200 monthly. Hiring began modestly, a deaf engineer via LinkedIn, then a marketer. Beta tests with 200 users unearthed bugs, prompting 3 overhauls. Subscriptions at $4.99, monthly trickled revenue to $10,000 by year-end. Expansion teased, but doubts lingered. Would this momentum hold or crumble under growth's weight? The pivotal shift hit on a humid 15th of July 2018 at a tech meetup in Chicago's Merchandise Mart, hosted by the 1871 Incubator. A coding forum buddy had convinced Alex to attend, notebook in hand, amid the buzz of entrepreneurs networking over stale coffee. Speaker Maria Lopez, a sharp VC who'd bootstrapped her way from immigrant roots, shared tales of grit. In Q&A, Alex typed his query on accessible tech and passed it up. Maria read it aloud, then beckoned him on stage, signing fluidly skills honed for her deaf niece. The room hushed as he demoed his rudimentary app on his phone, translating signs to text seamlessly. Applause erupted. Post-event, Maria cornered him. "This bridges worlds. Let's collaborate." She linked him to a mentorship program, securing $5,000 in seed grants for disabled founders and free co-working space. That encounter shattered his inertia. Alex ditched freelance gigs, vowing full commitment. No more dabbling. Silence would propel, not hinder. But could this alliance spark the blaze he needed? Transformation surged like the Chicago River after a thaw. By 2022, relentless refinements pushed SilentSpeak's AI to 95% accuracy, eclipsing rivals in benchmark tests. A demo video featuring a deaf child chatting effortlessly with her hearing grandma exploded on YouTube, amassing 1.2 million views in 7 days. Partnerships cascaded. Apple wove it into iOS accessibility, and 15 states rolled it out in schools for special education. Revenue leaped from $120,000 in 2022 to $1.5 million in 2023, swelling to $4 million by 2024, with 50,000 global users. Alex scaled the team to 12, relocating to a riverside office with panoramic views. Accolades followed. Forbes 30 Under 30 spotlight in February 2023, and a TEDx Chicago slot that summer, where his Sign Talk AI interpreted live drew 5,000. Personally, he cleared Elena's $15,000 medical debt and gifted her a cozy Oak Park home for $250,000. The app went international, enabling real-time sign translation at UN conferences. User stories poured in: a mute veteran reuniting with kin, teachers fostering inclusive classrooms. Alex offered free tiers for low-income folks and pledged 10% profits to deaf nonprofit. Yet, this pinnacle begged. Was it the end or a launch pad? As triumphs solidified, Alex evolved into a beacon of quiet strength. Once shrinking from spotlights, he now mentored aspiring coders at Southside community centers, signing advice over casual meetups. Gratitude anchored him. He credited Maria in every interview, calling her nudge life-altering, and cherished Elena's pride at family events, where SilentSpeak let conversations flow. He'd become an advocate, testifying on Capitol Hill in 2025 for tech equity in disabilities, pushing policies that once failed him. Pain had sculpted this man. Rejections honed resilience. Exhaustion taught endurance. In return, he funded $100,000 annual scholarships for 50 disabled students, ensuring others bypassed his pitfalls. The core lesson gleamed: adversity isn't a barrier but a forge. Alex's journey whispered that perceived flaws could birth revolutions, urging all to seize small steps amid chaos. In the end, Alex Thompson turned silence into a roar that echoed across continents. From a Southside boy with a $50 computer to a $2 million net worth innovator leading SilentSpeak to 50,000 users worldwide, his path proved grit trumps circumstance. He didn't just build a company, he bridged divides, reminding us that voices come in many forms. So what's your silence? Grab that dusty laptop, learn one code line, face one doubt. Start today, and watch your world speak volumes.